My name is Kathy Ouma. I live in Middletown, Delaware. Until last week, the idea of standing in solidarity while we cry out for racial justice seemed far-fetched and radical to most white Americans. Now, many murders of people of color later and a filmed murder of a black man by a white police officer, it is relevant to demand racial justice. How appalling is it that the boiling point was the recording of a murder? Without the recording of George Floyd's murder, this human rights movement would have continued to lack urgency and validity. We should not need a filmed murder to believe what is happening to people of color by police officers. When George Floyd cried out for his mother, moms across the world were summoned. My husband is black and I have 2 biracial children. It is my responsibility to the black community to continue to stand up against this injustice and demand equality. Racism is generational and systemic. Change should be evident in politics, legislation, and academics. Black history should be a fundamental teaching in school curriculums. Our leaders should consistently advocate for people of color outside of tragic times. No one should be comfortable until we live in a society with no racism. Even then, continuous efforts will be needed to maintain that social order. I want my children to not be followed in stores. I want my Kenyan-born husband to not be told to go back to where he came from and learn the laws of this country. I want my son to be able to wear hooded sweatshirts and play Nerf guns outside. When he grew over 5 feet, the rules changed. I want my neighbor who called my other neighbor's son a racial slur in front of my son to know that penetrated his soul. I want my daughter to feel like she can get pulled over and not be scared for her life despite her hands being visible. I want my daughter to get a job without people commenting that she only got that job because of affirmative action. I want my husband to not get pulled over for driving a luxury SUV while black. I want my husband to not have patients refuse to see a black doctor. This is a pivotal time where all of us need to stand in solidarity and work towards change. We have attended peaceful protests while wearing a mask and maintaining social distancing. When we know better, we have to do better. America knows better. Now we have to do better. We want a world where people of color are accepted and loved and enjoy the same privileges as their white counterparts.